Welcome to Depression Proof Your Life Live, a space for honest conversations about mental health, mental wellness, recovery, and resilience. Here, we explore how communication, environment, and mindset work together to move us from silence to strength. I'm Marion Mills, and I created DPYL out of my own journey through mental illness, addiction, and recovery. These conversations are about breaking stigma, finding support, and reminding you that you are not alone. If tonight's conversation brings up heavy emotions for you, please step away and reach out for support. Call or text 988 or call 911. Let's begin. Good evening. Welcome to Depression Proof Your Life Live. My guest tonight is Aarrestad. She is your bestie next door voice actor with a powerhouse range. She's known for her emotional depth, fearless versatility, and an ear for dialects. Ash brings her wit, heart, and dedication to every role. Ash can be heard welcoming guests at Dolly Parton's resort hotels, hyping up NBA's Portland Trailblazers, and bringing unforgettable characters to life in her audiobooks. And she is a 2026 Building Door Ambassador. Yes. Now, she also grounds herself in nature, and she tests out her voices with her dog. So, welcome to the show, Ash. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes,
How are
thank you
you?
so much for having me. I'm great. I just feels you ever just sit for a second and take stock of your day and you're like,
Yeah.
man, this is good. I didn't expect that I would be here, but I think it's important to every once in a while, even in the fluster of everything.
Right. Because
Yeah.
every day is not like that. But yeah, it's definitely good when you can say, no, today is good.
We're good.
All
We're good.
right. You and I met, I think it was maybe the next to the last day of VO Atlanta last year. And
Yes.
someone introduced me to you. It's like everyone dispersed and it was just you and I sitting there talking. And we were left there talking for
All night.
hours.
I
Hours.
know.
And then, of course, the next time, I think we text each other from time to time. And then the next time I called you was to tell you about being a 2026 door builder. And I
Yes.
think even then we stayed on the phone for about an hour or
I
so.
know.
So so I want to get into the questions because I know you said that you have a hard out, have something else on the schedule. Of course, the subject tonight, again, we talked about it, was about your inner voice. So
Mhm.
tell me, first of all, of course, different people call it different things. Tell me, what do you call yours? And what's your earliest memory of having an inner voice? And what was the circumstance?
So, what I call my inner voice has evolved and changed over the years. Now I just call it my intuition.
Okay,
I think people call it God, people call it spirit, people call it
right.
source, people call it instinct, gut instinct. I just call it intuition because it means different things to me at different times.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the earliest memory I have of it is actually when I was probably maybe 19 or 20.
Okay.
And it was when it's so funny, had nothing to do with, like, work or career or anything like
Okay.
that. I was interested in someone in a relation, and
Mhm.
I started having dreams of things that were not good. My dreams were us in a relationship, and then things were terrible, and it was, like, the very beginning of a courtship, but I was just not feeling good, and I remember feeling that in my dream of, "This is not good," and it felt a warning, but I pursued this
Mm.
romantic interest anyway, not for very long, and
Mhm.
we weren't even ever really dating, it was just, like, the flirting part, and those things actually happened, and I was like,
Oh, oh, I just got chills. Wow.
"Oh," and that is
Wow.
not the first or the last time that things like that have happened to me in my life, but that's the first time where I've realized, like, "Oh, this is something. This is
Yeah.
something. I need to pay attention to this."
Wow, that's powerful. What was the turning point in, because you said that you didn't listen at that time. What was the turning point that actually made you trust your inner voice or your intuition?
When those things actually came to fruition, and I realized that the way that I felt in that dream of it being a warning was
Mm,
because these things were not for me.
yeah.
And I had a choice at that point. I could either continue to pursue what is not for me and continue to just, like, rally against it, and eventually, what is not for you will not be in your life. One way or another, if you pursue something that's not yours to have, eventually it will be taken away from you. It will disappear, it will stop in your
Yeah.
life, and I feel like the longer we go against the grain, the harder it's going to be when that thing is relinquished, when that thing is no longer in existence in our life. And
Wow.
so it didn't take me very long this time because I was, like, intimidated by
Okay.
this idea of, "Oh, dang, this came to fruition. We're just gonna stop now because this is freaking me out a little bit."
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I appreciate you for even saying it's never going to work out no matter what you try to do because it's just not for you.
Mhm. That very same thing happened with another, like, long-term relationship in my life where for years and years and years, I had these dreams, and there
Mhm.
was this still small voice in the back of my head that kept saying, "This is never going to work. This is not going to work." And eventually, the voice just quieted down, but I think that was my own doing. I learned how to shut it off
Okay.
because I wanted what I
Mm.
want. I'm stubborn.
Mhm.
I want what
Absolutely.
I want, and I
Yeah.
shall have that thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
eventually, I did come to the realization of, "You know what? But if I really want what's meant for me, then I have to let go of the things that are not."
Oof, that is powerful. And I even realized that in my own healing with depression. I just realized, and I shared that with Karin last week. I realized that a lot of my depression really came from just focusing on all the wrong that had been done, everything in my past, just all these hurtful things, and just replaying them constantly over and over. Even with that, as I told her, I stopped drinking and I stopped smoking. And it was like, okay, now what? Now that you're not doing these things that you thought you were going to do all your life, the slate is clean. I hear you saying that they come as in a dream. Is it an awake dream or is it literally you're sleeping and you're dreaming of this? Because it sounds like it's twofold. It's a voice as well as a dream. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
so sometimes they're dreams, sometimes I dream about something that it feels like a warning in my
Right.
dream, that the situation feels like a warning, and then
Mhm.
that thing has happened. Sometimes it's
Wow.
days, months, years in the future, and it
Mm.
might not be that exact same situation, but I find myself in something very similar, and
Yes.
I think, "Oh,
Mhm.
I've been here before. I've been here
Mhm.
before, I need to listen." And then other times, it feels like, it's in the moment, and you can be in the midst of a situation where it's a the kids these days are calling it the ick,
Okay.
and it's either a warning, that icky warning,
Yeah.
or it in a positive way, that still small voice when it's the encouraging side, which I think is harder to hear because fear tends to be the overdriver.
Be louder, right?
That
Mhm.
fear is loud, and so it's
Yeah.
so hard sometimes to hear that still small voice that's the positive one saying, "You can do this, go."
Yeah.
That one feels those anxious butterflies that you get when you're
Okay.
if you're someone who does public speaking or is getting ready to do a presentation or even getting ready to walk into a room of people that you love and you haven't seen for a while and you get those excited butterflies, that feeling
Okay.
of the
Yeah.
still small voice.
I like that. I like that description. I think a perfect description. I know when I watch other interviews with celebrities and some people ask, you don't get nervous. It's natural to get it's not necessarily nervousness, it's excitement, but it is a little bit of nervousness no matter how long you've been doing the public speaking. They said, and I've heard a lot of them say, if you're not getting nervous, then you're doing something wrong.
You're
Like,
not in it.
because yeah, you're not in it. Yeah. So I thought you were going to touch on it a little bit, but how do you tell the difference between whether it's your intuition, whether it's you talking to yourself, like your own voice?
Sometimes you can't, and
Okay.
that's where you I like to describe that my one of my best friends said this to me one day, and I'll never forget it because she and I are so alike, and she said, "You're a jump off the cliff and build your wings on the way down kinda girl." I
I
was
love
like,
that.
"Babe, that could not be any more true, for
Oh
real. That
gosh,
is
I
it.
love that.
That is it." And it is true because so many things in my life where I was oh god, I've been
Mhm.
afraid to take that leap of faith
Yeah.
every single time I've made it. If you're not afraid to take that leap of faith,
Mm.
again, like, it's that nervousness.
Yeah.
Is this actually a leap or is it just like a hop? And when it comes to the ability to tell the difference between intuition and fear, sometimes they're one and the same.
That's good.
Sometimes it is, I should be doing this or I shouldn't be doing this, and I'm afraid. And then
Yeah.
you either do or you don't. And after that is you face the consequences of your decisions.
Yeah.
Either
And
way.
yeah, I appreciate that too. It might not be the right choice. You face the consequences and you keep on moving. Don't let that stop you. I just came to that realization, I think, after realizing that my own thought pattern was
Mm,
keeping me stuck in
mm.
depression. Like even starting Depression Proof Your Life, it was just this fear in every aspect, every part, even quitting my job as a social worker to become a voice actor. I've come to trust, like you said, that inner voice. Wait a minute, everything that I've tried to do, even though I was scared and didn't know what the outcome, I've come out
You've been fine.
I've excelled actually. It's like,
Yes,
okay, once you put your toe out, just put your toe in it and it's like,
yes.
wait a minute. I could have been out of this. I could have been out of that situation, but I let fear
Mm,
literally paralyze me.
yes, and it's funny is when you I have found, especially now in voiceover,
Mhm.
especially in the last, let's say, 2 years, I have thrived in very unexpected ways,
Yeah.
but before that, my fear, my anxiety, my mental health, my own depression got in
Mhm.
the way, and I realized after my environment changed, after
Mm.
my influences changed,
Mm.
and whatever your influences are, it could be the influence of substance, it could be the influence of a person, it could be the
Yeah.
influence of a group, of a job, whatever those influences are, but as soon as they change, become because we become the most like them. We
Yes.
reflect, we are mirrors
Mhm.
of our most consistent environments, and
You are preaching right now, girl. Oh my God.
yes,
Go ahead. Yeah,
and
this
when
is
it
so good.
changes, when those things change, it just feels it's like this is so cheesy, but it's like the
We,
clouds open
we
up and
literally
you got
this.
these Bible rays of sunshine down on you.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
"Dang, that's all it took? It's that
That's all it
simple?" And
took.
it's but that's the
Mm.
thing, it's not that simple because when you make those changes, you are stepping into you are stepping into a whole new life that is
Yeah,
just for you because
yeah.
everything else has been it's been stripped away and removed. So you are
Mm.
raw and open and vulnerable to
Yeah.
like whatever is yours to receive. It's terrifying. And then your intuition's, "You ready?" And you're like,
That is that I in thinking back, I felt the same way or a similar way, just realizing, wait a minute, all this time, like, is that all I had to do was just get out of my own comfort zone, get out of my own way.
"Yes,
And once I let that go, it's almost, yeah, bring it on. I want to see what else is out there. What else I can think, anything I can think of, I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to at least try it. If I fail, I know it wasn't for me. If I
yes,
but what if I succeed? What if anything that I think of, anything or whatever, it's scary and it's exuberating all at the same time. Yeah, yeah, okay. So what role do you think that your inner voice played in a part of building your resilience, if any?
I think you had mentioned you touched on this a little bit, doing the scary thing
Yeah.
and then looking back and realizing that I'm okay. My mom has to remind me this all the time. I have been a creative my entire life. My whole adult life, I have never had a normal 9 to 5 job.
Okay.
It started when I was 18. I had a career as a makeup artist in film and TV and fashion for
Oh,
15
wow.
years, and then I
Mhm.
switched gears, and now I'm in voiceover. And as a creative, as someone who is your own boss, it's feast or famine all the time
Right,
until it's not. Like, some people do get really lucky, but for a long time as you're building a career, you're hungry. You're
right.
hungry literally, and you're hungry for work.
Yes.
And
I like
and
that.
every time I have been almost, like, brought to my knees in that panic of, like, "Where is my next paycheck coming from?
Mhm,
I want this thing so bad, but I'm just getting rejection after
mhm,
rejection," or, "Why aren't things working the way that I want?" Or you're in this lull and you just don't see your way out of it. My mom
mhm.
has to remind me of this all the time, and she said, "You've been here before, and you've been fine before." She always reminds me of this. My mom's a very spiritual person. She always says, "God has never let you down."
Yes.
Ever.
Mm,
He's not gonna start now, and my mom has always been a really big supporter of mine and for literally everything that I do,
yeah.
and sometimes it takes someone who knows you almost as
Mhm.
good, or they have known you
Yeah.
to remind you of who you are, or
Yes.
you can look in the mirror and be like, "Oh, yeah, no, I do remember.
Yeah.
I know who I am, and I can
Yeah,
handle this."
I think that's a great example of how we can look back on our past and see how far we've come. I got emotional last week in talking to Karen because she shared a journal from I think 2014,
Oof.
And everyone in the chat was chiming in saying, "Yeah, I've been journaling since I was in 6th grade. I still have mine. I still have mine." And I got emotional because I was like, "You know what? That is a time when you feel like you're not succeeding or you feel like you can't go on, whatever it is that you're feeling, you can go back and pull out these journals from whenever and realize, my God, I've come so far."
Yes,
And because I think sometimes life is life, and we really don't take the time to just enjoy, as you said when you first came on. No, today was good. Like,
he's
life is
good.
good. Yeah. There's so many times we're either so busy just in what's going on and we have tunnel vision in our own life. But I also think sometimes we're just striving to get that next thing and that next and the next, where we're not really enjoying the present, literally. Like, we're not
Totally.
enjoying just where we are and how far we've come in all that we've done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said your mom is spiritual. Where would you say you fall in that?
Yeah, so I was raised in a very strict Christian household, and I definitely believe in there is something that is much bigger than myself that
Mm,
there is some sort of call it divine, call it order. There's just something that I feel that is a pull to something that is people call it magical, people call it spiritual, people call it whatever, but I don't associate it necessarily with any kind of religious order anymore.
right.
That doesn't work out for me, and I'm okay with that, and I know that my inner compass is led by love and my relationship to people,
Yeah.
my relationship to nature, and my
Mm,
gratitude for all of those things, and I really I get humbled a lot
yes.
when I realize that I have spent so much time thinking about all of the things that I don't have yet, and then I catch myself, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's been days, weeks, months, and I'm like, "Man, I don't have all these things yet," and I'm irritated about it because I know that I work really hard for what I
Yeah.
want in life, and if I'm not there yet, I get impatient, but then the minute it's almost like clockwork every single time.
Yeah.
The minute I stop thinking about what I don't have and start
Mhm.
thinking about all of the things that I am grateful for that I do have and the
Yeah.
opportunities that I have had up to this point, that stuff just starts pouring in
Yeah.
nonstop, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool,
Yeah.
noted, got it, cool." The
Yeah.
universe is like, "Are you done yet?"
And is it, I also hear, when I hear you say that, it makes me think about something growing up in the church, what I used to always hear, like, the good outweighs the bad. It really just makes you realize all these different things that I want or different things I felt like I haven't achieved. It's like, but where I am now, it's beautiful. It could be worse.
Yeah,
I can't remember whose interview I was watching, but I want to say it was Trevor Noah. He said, think about it. He said, that car, that job, that spouse, those children, whatever, we can call it anything. One day you were wishing for it, you were praying for it, you were working hard to get it, to obtain it. And sometimes it's that very thing that you're complaining about now. Think about that next time you complain. And that's what resonated with me when you said that. I was like, wait a minute, let me take the time to really just soak in where I am, what I've done, how much I've accomplished. And in the midst of everything that's going on in the world, to be able to say that you're still getting consistent work. It's little things in life. I love to watch birds. And I saw when you said that that's how you ground yourself is with nature.
yeah,
I realized that very early on in my voiceover career. I remember always having, as a social worker, I had to ask to go outside. I'm step away from my desk. Is okay if I, because sometimes when you're dealing with something heavy or you have a block, whatever it is,
mm,
sometimes it's important to step away from it. And a lot of 9 to 5s, a lot of jobs, you can't do that. You have to just keep pushing through. And when you constantly do that, it causes your mental health to just tilt, shake. So if I'm reading a script and I'm not connecting with it, I go outside, watch my birds, just do something outside.
yeah,
And even if I'm not thinking about whatever that script is, I'm going outside in nature just to clear my head and appreciate the small things, looking, seeing the little ants. Like, I can see these ants moving and
yes,
watching them make their little, take their food. I come back in, bam, knock it out. Just having that time to step away, I think, is extremely important. Sandy, thank you so much for watching and chiming in. She said
yeah.
gratitude is so key. Do you journal at all?
That's funny. I used to journal
Okay.
all the time, but I also had I think I journaled a lot more when I was a teenager because I was always in trouble.
Okay.
Girl, I
I
opened those
love
things
that.
up and I was like, "Oh, I was so mad." And I remember when this happened, but
But that's how you got it out though, right? Like, you're just
yes,
journaling. Okay, I like
that
it.
was my safe space. My
Mhm.
journaling and I've got, I think, a lot of creatives,
Mhm.
and it takes a concerted effort for me to sit down
Yes.
and write consistent thoughts, and I was
Mhm.
doing it for a while, like this practice, it's called, The Artist's Way. Are you familiar with this?
Okay.
But I do find that when I am my most emotional self, when I have big feelings,
Yeah.
the only way for me to really get it all out and feel like I can flush my system of it is to journal and then quite literally go touch grass. Whatever the grass is, it could be
Mm.
sand, it could be soil, it could be actual grass.
Bare feet. Yeah. When you
Oh,
said it, I think, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what it is about bare feet on the earth, but it is the most grounding, and it could be like concrete, I don't care,
Yeah.
but it is your body's connection from, like, head to toe of being just centered and present in the moment because you're feeling everything. Your
Yeah.
feet are your first connection to feeling the world around you when you're barefoot. Your feet
Wow.
are telling you everything that's happening on the ground, and then
Mhm.
it shoots up through your body and your brain's registering it, and it takes a minute for you to come back to normal, but my favorite part about nature is the big expanse of it. That's why I
Right.
love the ocean and I love the desert
Mhm.
because we're in these little boxes all day. If you're in a
Mhm.
9 to 5, you're in this little cubicles all day or maybe in
Yeah.
your home office all day. But when you go outside and you're in nature, it feels like you can fully inhale and then fully exhale.
Yeah, yeah.
And being able to look out into a big open expanse of nature and
Mhm.
see endless, like, microcosms of the universe in front of you, just
Mhm.
these wow moments of, like, even that little bunch of moss in that little pool of water has its
Right.
own
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ecosystem
Yeah.
of life
Yeah.
that's happening,
Yeah.
and it's the
Yeah.
perspective that you get from those kinds of moments, and then you turn right back around, you get in that booth, and you nail the audition, and you're just
Right.
like, "There we go, that's all
Yeah.
I needed."
Wow, that's beautiful. I love plants and even just seeing new growth
Mm.
on a plant and
Yes.
watching it grow over time is just in awe of just life around you,
Yes.
constantly growing and blossoming. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And you may have touched on this. How has your inner voice helped you in your voiceover career and your voiceover decisions that you've
Mm.
made about your career?
You know what's funny is that inner voice is the reason why I even have this career.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
way back when I first started, it was a lot of people who I grew up acting in theater, and so performance is not new to me,
Okay.
but after the pandemic lifted and we got out of that, I didn't have regrets, but I did have takeaways, and one of
Mhm.
them was, "We are not promised tomorrow," and because of that, the second thing was, "Try
Yeah.
everything." If you have an interest in anything, try, because
Mm.
the worst thing that could possibly happen
It's so
is
beautiful. I
that you
love it.
never try and you never know whether you could have succeeded, and I am someone that cannot live with the what if. So
Yeah.
I want my life to be big and bold and beautiful, and I want everything in it. I want to
Yeah.
experience everything, and when I started thinking like, "What is missing? What is missing? The pandemic has
Mhm.
lifted. What's missing in my life?" It was big creativity, and I thought, okay,
Oh,
if I could incorporate anything into my life that I hadn't yet, but that I've always wanted to, what would it be? And I thought, you know what? When I was 18, I wanted to move to New York and pursue Broadway, but I didn't have the guts, I didn't have the support, I didn't have the
yeah.
money, I didn't have the
Okay.
spiritual maturity to handle that
Mhm.
city at 18. So I didn't. And it was the one thing that I wished I'd always done is to pursue a career as an actor. And I thought, you know what? How about voiceover? So I took an intro
Wow.
course and it was like an 8-week course, and at the end of it, my instructor said, "If you don't do something with this, it would be disappointing to find that out. I think you should go for it." And I did, and then I thought, "You know what? How do I get my voice out there?" And I don't like being on social media. Every time I hit that post button, it's major cringe for me. I don't like being exposed in that way, it feels really
Yes.
vulnerable. Ironically, I was a theater actor, but I think that's why, it's just 'cause I'm like, "Oh god, it's uncomfortable." But
Right.
I bit the bullet one day and I saw that there was all these voice actors on TikTok, and I had resisted doing it.
Yeah.
But I did it because I was just like, What do you got to lose? If it sucks, you can delete the account. If it's awful, you don't have to do it, but just try, just try. And I did. And that led to me meeting a script writer who worked for Malik Berger. And yes, of all things, he was putting these, like, little
Wow.
TikTok voice actor challenges on there, and I asked him
Okay.
if he wrote demo scripts, and he said, "Yeah, I do, and actually, I wanna connect you to, someone that I worked for." And that's how I met Malik. Malik took me under her wing. I started coaching with her. She did my first 2 demos. I met Portia Scott because of Malik Berger. My first booked commercial period was a multinational campaign for Ashley Furniture, and that was 6 months out of the gate, and because if I would not have trusted my instincts and my intuition, that small voice that just said, "Just do it. What do you
Just
have
do
to
it.
lose?" I
Yeah.
would not be where I am today because those steps would not have been as sequential as they were.
I like I'm such a crier and I don't know why, but
Oh,
I
I'm
love
like
that.
that too.
I love that. Like it's but it's just what you just said is just so powerful, and alignment means is everything.
Mm,
God's timing is everything. When I think back on the trajectory of me stopping and smoking, I stopped smoking and drinking, but still was having a lot of mental health challenges. When I think about all the, oh my gosh, I could have done this, I couldn't have. If I was still smoking and drinking, there's no way I would sound like this. I would sound like Wolfman Jack for real. So in all the things that when I think back, there's no everything happened the way that it was supposed to. The same way, all the things that I was so embarrassed about to share with people about my mental illness and
mm,
drinking and smoking, all of that had to happen in order for me to create such a space and have such a passion for people's stories. And I tell people, I used to get in trouble all the time as a social worker because I would get in trouble for taking up too much time with the client. But I took up too much time with the client because I would allow them to do exactly what you're doing. Just
mm.
tell your story. This is your story. And only you can only all the ins and outs and what works and what doesn't work. I really appreciate that.
And it just keeps I keep this keeps being proved to me time and
Yes.
again. There's
Mhm.
that a while ago, there was a social media meme that was going around of have the
Mm.
audacity. And last year at VO Atlanta, I went with this, like, business mind of I'm curious about audiobooks. It's not really something that I've really delved into before, but I was curious about it. So I went to VO Atlanta last year to learn about that. And I sat in on a live panel, and it was a live coaching panel. And I was watching these people get up and read and take note from different audiobook coaches, and then there's this one guy that got up there, and I didn't catch his name, but I
Mhm.
watched how he coached this other person, and I watched what a difference it made in this person's performance, and it
Mhm.
felt like everything that every coach had ever told me up until that point clicked when I heard him.
Yes.
And later that night, I saw that narrator and I was like, "Did you catch that guy's name?" And he said, "I didn't." And I said the words out loud, "I gotta find that guy and I gotta ask him about coaching because I wanna coach with him." And the
Mhm.
next morning, I thought, "It's VO Atlanta. I'll just go
Probably
home,
never yeah, never
I'll
see
just
that
go
again,
home and
right?
figure out what the guy's name is, and I'll find his email, and it'll work out that way." It never
Right.
does. And, like, babe, no.
Yeah.
Do it in the moment. Have the
Yeah.
audacity and do it in the
Mhm.
moment. And when I said those things out loud and I went to bed, I did not realize that I was planting seeds for the universe to water and to flourish. 'Cause
Mm.
the very next day, I went downstairs to get coffee, and he was standing in front of me in line to get coffee, and we ended up having a 2-hour conversation, and his name
Yeah.
is Ray Porter, and he is responsible for the highest selling audiobook of all time. He narrated a book called Project Hail Mary, and that is my coach and my mentor in
Yeah.
the audiobook world. And because of that story, I'm now speaking at a conference in Atlanta about having the audacity because that
Yeah.
has the power to shape your career.
Yeah.
It's just
A
wild.
and remind everyone watching how long you've been in voiceover?
Pursuing it seriously, I just finished my 3rd year. I'm entering my 4th year.
When you're fourth. The reason I think that's important is because anyone that's watching that's at the beginning or in the middle or wherever they are in their voiceover journey, it's not
Mm-mm.
time yet. Yeah.
That's how I feel every time I audition and we send it out into the ether and I
Yeah.
don't get it. I don't take that as, "Damn, I'm not getting anything." I take
Mhm.
that as, "You're not ready for that yet." The universe
Yes.
is telling you that you're not ready for that yet, and that's
Mhm.
okay, but there's
Yeah.
only one way to get ready, and that's to learn how to be ready.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that you can stay ready.
It's almost like the heavens opening up again.
And in that moment, I thought to myself, all right, you can either introduce yourself or you can just make small talk and let that moment go by. And then
Yeah.
let the little voice was like, what do you have to lose?
What
What
do
do
you
you have
have to
to just
lose?
ask him? He's right there. I'm literally giving you the opportunity in front of you. Take it.
Take it. Yeah. All right. I have two questions left for you.
Okay.
One is for someone that's watching, what would you tell them about the difference between the voice in your head and your intuition and the benefits of trusting that inner voice?
The voice in our head, I think, is the one that more often than not plants self-doubt on its own.
Mm,
When we no one has to ask that voice in our head to show up, it just does. But
okay.
we willingly give ourselves pep talks, mental pep talks, where we are consciously telling ourselves positive things. Girl, you
Yeah.
got this. You can do this. You are
Yeah.
strong. You can handle this. You have everything you need already. But it's that little voice in your head that's the one that's, "But are you sure? Are you
Yeah.
sure?" But your intuition is the one that makes you feel that you can do it.
Mm,
The one your
that's great.
intuition is the one that sort of pulls you forward into motion to set yourself on the right path. A fear will hold you back over and over again, but there's a difference between bad fear and unsure fear. Bad fear of a
Mm.
warning, I
Ooh, I
mean,
like that.
you can feel that too,
Yeah.
but that's the thing is that you have to be self-aware. You have to do
Mm,
the work and know thyself to be able to
mm.
hear these things. You have to listen to
Yeah,
yourself, and
absolutely.
sometimes that will mean journaling. Sometimes that will mean just being quiet with yourself and
Mm.
removing all of the things that
All
are
the
outside it.
noise, right?
Take out
Yes.
the noise. Take out the
Mm.
noise so that you can hear. And your intuition, I think, is truly an internal compass, and the North Star is always in the same place. And your
Yeah.
intuition, your internal compass is not going to steer you off the path that is meant for you, ever. It's when we're so busy looking at these mile markers in the car that we're not looking around at what's on the other side of the
Right.
windows
Yeah.
outside of us.
That's great.
We're not paying attention. We're not listening. That's when it gets us. So that's the difference. The negative self-talk is a voice in your head. Your
Wow.
intuition is the positive feeling that pulls you forward.
That is beautiful. I thank you so much for giving us that. The last question I'm gonna ask is, what kind of dogs do you have? And also, I wanted to ask you about the what was in your bio, why you critically judge espresso martinis.
Oh, listen.
So while you're
All
talking
right.
about that, because of we're short on time, I'm going to
Yeah.
put up your contact information as you tell us about that.
Yeah, do it.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, my dogs are Piper and Olaf, and Piper loves the camera, and she loves people, and she's a total ham. But Olaf is moody and judgmental of everyone and only loves me and 1 or 2 other
Oh,
people in the whole world. So his
oh,
love is
okay.
conditional, but not
Okay.
Piper's. So that's why she's been on my social media for years
I
and no
see.
one ever sees
Okay.
Olaf. They're not here right now. They're out because I needed to get work done today. But
Okay.
I judge an espresso martini. First of all, I live in Seattle and we are
Okay.
coffee snobs out here.
Okay.
Snobs, connoisseurs, purveyors of the fine bean, whatever you want to call it. I know Starbucks originated out here, but there's more to life than Starbucks. And there are so many like micro coffee brewers out here. And so I've had a
Mhm.
chance to try a lot, but a proper espresso martini is not made with Kahlua or Bailey's or Frangelico. A proper espresso martini is made with either espresso infused vodka or vanilla infused vodka and cold brew and just like a splash of simple syrup. It's pure. It's basically it's jet fuel in a shaker in a fancy class. I will judge that so harshly because they're supposed to be thick and
Okay.
dark. You can't see the light through it. If you can see the light through it, I'm so
Take that
sorry
mess
for
back.
your
Right.
hangover tomorrow. I'm so sorry for that.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Depression Proof Your Life Live. Thanks so much for joining us on Depression Proof Your Life tonight. If this conversation stirred up heavy emotions for you, please reach out for help. Call or text 988 for 24-hour support in the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., look up your local crisis helpline. Stay connected with DPYO by following us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And visit depression-prooflife.com for resources, blogs, and to share your story. Your story may be exactly what someone else needs today. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, healing is possible.